Hello everybody, Althermer here. Today we are going to be getting into another build in my fun build series. I hope you guys are enjoying this series. I like doing it. I really, really do. I think it's a lot of fun. These are the builds I love doing. Like I really love doing. Like I try to take sets that don't make sense and just kind of put them together and it's like, okay, how does this work? I love doing this. As you know, as a disclaimer, these builds are not really meant for sweaty content. What do I mean by sweaty content? I mean hard mode endgame trials, leaderboard chasing, like ultra serious, kind of stuff. This is just having fun with some guild mates or friends or your significant other or whatever, and just running around Cyrodiil, running around just zones, doing overland content. You could do normal dungeons with these. You could do um, you know, world bosses. You could do public dungeons. You could do battlegrounds. Most likely. Um, so I mean, you can get done with just basically anything. But I try to make the build fun, but also viable. Today's gonna be a different kind of a build. Um, in all honesty, this build today is called. Wait for it. The Snow Elf build. Yes, yes, the Snow Elf build. This was actually a really, really difficult build to come up with. Not going to lie. I even really don't like this armor, but whatever. It's a video and we're having fun. Um, so I love Snow Elves. No, I didn't really know how to transition there, but I do love Snow Elves. Snow Elves, if you don't know, if you have no idea what they are, if you run into Western Skyrim and you go into some of the dungeons there, you'll run into these goblin-like creatures called Falmer. Those, believe it or not, at one time, its ancestors were a race called Snow Elves. Now, as you know, in the Elder Scrolls Online series, it's not, in the Elder Scrolls Online series, I was right. Elves have kind of like two names. They have Altmer or High Elf, Orsimer or Orc. Um, I think Orc has a different name too, but I don't remember it right now. Dunmer or Dark Elf, blah blah blah. Well, Falmer were Snow Elves, and they pretty much hung around like High Rock and Skyrim mostly, and they were driven out and into hiding, and some of them made a deal with the Dwemer, and the Dwemer screwed them over, and they ultimately, over years of torture and whatever, turned into what we ran into those dungeons, blind goblins. And I've always loved Snow Elves. Ever since Dawnguard, I think, because here was this society that was prosperous and wealthy and like knew magic and were just had their own way of telling time. They had their own language. They had their own like just so many different things that were their own and they owned, and yet they were pretty much driven into goblins. I mean, they were high elves but pale. So this build is kind of focused around them, their lore. It was really hard to do this because according to lore, some of their favorite things were they loved ice magic, but they also really did um, spears and bows. Now it's kind of a hard combo because magic and bows, kind of weird. Um, I actually struggled for a long time trying to make that work, and I abandoned it. And I said, you know what? You know what? Also was kind of hinted in the Dawnguard DLC is that they had kind of like an affinity. I think that's the word. They were really good at sun magic, supposedly. So I mean that's kind of a rumor, but I mean like Gelibor, he used the sun. Hello. Um, so I kind of leaned into that. I said, okay, spears, sun magic, Templar, great. So I just give him an ice staff and go with it. Um, So that's what this is, and I based their sets kind of on like their gods. You know, they were a very religious race. One, although I will say one set I'm not sure about. So if you guys know more about Snow Elves than me, which you might, tell me if this was a good choice. But I went with 5-piece Cerebane. Big pieces are reinforced just to make you bulky. Okay, you're a melee player in PvP, and you're going to get punched in the face, basically. So I tried my best to make this work. The 5-piece bonus for Cerebane is when you block Flame, Frost, Shock, or magic damage, you restore 805 magic. This can effect can occur every second. So I kind of base it around that. I mean, they weren't. Snow Elves seemed to be really good with magic. They were really great with spears and stuff like that, especially like the Snow Elf Prince. But they didn't seem to be particularly great at fighting because the Nords or at Morans, even though I believe the Morans had more than just the 500, I do believe they had like giants and dragons and bears, and because they back then they worshipped animals, and they were still very much a part of the dragon cult and stuff. So kind of leaned into that with these sets I chose. Plus, Cerebane's one of their gods. The next set I chose, oh, for the other small pieces, I did Impen because Cyrodiil, and like I said, you're gonna be up close. Usually, I probably wouldn't do as many Impen as I did, but I feel like you this is kind of a melee build. I will show you a um, non-melee option. If you don't like melee, I'm not a particular fan of it, to be honest. All right, so the next set is Magnus's Ring. 5-piece bonuses. When you cast a magic ability, you have a 15% chance to negate the ability's cost. Again, kind of focused around returning magic, cost, efficiency, because they weren't warriors. But how do I make a class that's magical? How do I make them viable? So I kind of had to play around with it a bit. You know, I did one healthy because I noticed when I first started, they it wasn't up to Cyrodiil standards for health. So I played around with that. So I went with one healthy, two arcane. Now you could switch these if you want. If you feel like you don't have enough spell resistance or physical resistance, you can certainly do that because even with this here, the 20 and 17, so that's still probably a little low, in my opinion anyway. So you can certainly change things around, make this protective, make maybe both of them protective, sacrifice some more magicka if you want to. Um, you could definitely do that if you feel like you're lacking some beefiness. But for the weapon, ice staff because snow elf ice, and I did a Nirnhoned because I needed to kind of balance what I thought the build should be because of snow elves with ice Templar, but also at the same time, all right, like I need them to do damage. Like it's a fun build, but fun also has to be like, yay, like I'm actually killing people. You know what I mean? So I went with Nerdhound with the Berserker enchant on it, and I did Oblivion on the back bar. And usually I would put Diseased on the back bar to prop Defile, but I wanted again just a little more damage in case you're out there. So I did Oblivion damage. A lot of people have a lot of health, so figured that'd be kind of the way to go. And I did Powered here as well. Um, for my monster sets, these are interchangeable, guys. You can put a mythic here. I try not to use mythics in my builds because not everybody can get them. I mean, me personally, I only have like I think two mythics because there's a lot that drop in dungeons. I just can't get to those, and just yeah. So I try not to include mythics, but you certainly can if you want to. Like one mythic that I actually tested. This is Snow Treaders. You could certainly do Snow Treaders puts here, which this is a snow elven item, and then replace the shoulders with Sarabane if you want to do that, or whatever's your choice. Um, you could do trainee, druid, if you want to go that route instead. But I did Lady Thorn as my head because the max I was really lacking some health, so I went into this, and again I went into Inpen because at least in this initial build I'm more melee, and I just needed something a little extra. And this was Crag, Frog, whatever, I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm not gonna try, even though I lied. And I did offensive penetration. No, I did stamina as the glyph because I just wanted a little more stamina. I felt like my health and magic was in a really good spot, but I really wanted that little extra for stamina, for dodge rolling, blocking, stuff like that. All right, so now the one thing you want to really be careful of if you're gonna do a ice staff is blocking. Okay, if you have to block an attack, do it on your back bar because ice staff is a it's a tanking weapon, so you will not generate magicka while you're blocking with it, much like sword and shield. So with stamina, I would say if you're gonna block, switch to your back bar because there's usually, I believe there's passives in rest of staff. I haven't done rest of staff in a while. Full charge. Yeah, restore 600 magic whenever you block an attack. This can occur once every 0.25 seconds. So you're restoring magicka just by blocking. So originally, in some of my, you'll see this in some of my builds that I'm coming out with that are more tanky. I almost prefer a resto staff because of this passive here that restores magicka, this passive that when I block restores magicka. It just it's a preference for PvP anyway. Plus the attack. It's not like this. It's a beam, and I like that. So for abilities, puncturing sweep, you could do the other morph if you don't want to do major brutality. If you don't want to do this ability, but since this is my spammable, I really don't want to be killing my stamina on it. So I did puncturing sweep, javelin. This is such an essential ability. Even if I switch to a range ability, this is on my bar. So I get this ability. It also provides a dot. Dot's not too bad. At least it's something. Power of the light, because it gives you minor breach, which ignores armor. Plus, it is in the Dawn's Wrath skill line, which it gives you minor sorcery when you and your group to you and your group for 20 seconds, casting a Dawn's Wrath ability. Now that's pretty unique to Templars. No other class has that. So that means that I can get my spell damage up a lot higher than other people can. Okay, so just as an example, I don't know if my enchant rocked. 6.5, you see that? 6.5 spell damage altogether when my enchant procs. It's pretty good for a build that I wasn't trying to make bulky. I wasn't trying to make damagey. So this just goes to show that you can turn any build if you really focus on it. Stop giving me shards. I'm fine, dude. Like, I'm good, bro. Thank you for your concern with my life or whatever the hell that's about. It just goes to show that you can really turn any set. Like if you think of what's quote meta, I try to stay away from meta because sometimes meta is boring. Um, it's penetration, high spell damage, 31 health, blah blah blah. Magic recovery is included. If you really, you can almost do any build. These are not spectacular sets. These, I doubt anyone even remembers these are in the game. But if you do it right, you'll be fine. Like, look at that. Even with some buffs, I'm at 34 and 34. It's pretty good for damage. And I didn't put like a ton of champion points in either. Alright, so back into it here. Um, Power of the Light. Again, you do this for just because it's a good ability, but also to proc this minor sorcery, and then this execute's amazing. Now I did the heal one because I wouldn't say I was about to say I'm selfish, but I like to heal, like just in case, because PvP there's a lot of incoming damage, so I do this instead. And then I did Ice Comet as my ultimate because Snow Elf frost damage, plus this is a really good ultimate and it's fun to cast. Um, but you can put, if you wanted to stick with the Snow Elf build, you could put Elemental Storm here, Elemental Rage, or whatever morph you choose. I would choose this one. You could choose the other one though if you're going melee and have it follow you around. You know, you could certainly do that. That would actually be kind of fun. On my back bar, I did Honor of the Dead. This is more of a solo heal, but it also, again, that theme of returning Magicka cost. You know, even though my Magicka recovery is at 1.4 without potions, I still want to make sure that I'm having magic come to me. So I have this ability. This ability brings magic cost plus the sets I choose. This one, it's for the heal, but also um, it reduces the movement of the attacker by 40% for 3 seconds, which can kind of help you if you're in an oh crap moment. This one's really good just because while slotted, you gain minor fortitude, minor endurance, minor intellect, increasing your health, stamina, magic recovery. You can have this on your front bar if you want, and like take out like this ability. So if you only use this ability for a major sorcerer, you can sub out. You can basically sub out the 3 spot if you want. If you want to do that, this ability, I do this for basically all the buffs that gives and debuffs. I give it for the empower. I also because resto heavy attacks are more like this. So while I'm restoring Magicka, I'm doing even more damage just because. But I'm also, oh, that's right. He's gonna. Oh yeah, I can reset the guy. Boop. Um, it also puts Major Defile on enemies, reducing healing and health recovery by 16%. Now that's pretty good because health recovery is already pretty bad in PvP, and this just makes it worse, which is. And this one's just Major Resolve. This is where this comes from. Um, but also, while the rune is active, you heal for 805 health, scaling off your max health, which usually in PvP you actually do. You actually do have a lot more health than usual, and while standing within the rune increases the healing done by 200%, which is great if you want to stand in it. You know, a little extra buff. So, and as my ultimate, I do Remembrance, but you can also do um, Life Giver if you want to do that too. Either or, whatever works for you. I like Remembrance personally. But this build, I've tested this build and it's a lot of fun. Um, it's a lot of fun to do, and I think it's fairly lore friendly for snow elves. Um, for let's see, for I wanted to test something, but I didn't. I don't remember what it was. Oh, potions, right? Did I give myself potions? I didn't. Ah, that's embarrassing. Well, different food choices. I did longfin. Oh, it doesn't tell you. I did longfin, but another choice you can do if for some reason you're finding your recovery a little low, you need more, you can do Jewels of Misrule. It's funny. It's funny that this is meta because I've been using this for years. I love Jewels of Misrule. I always have. I always have. So while this is procced, now your magic recovery is up to 1.7, which is pretty good. So I really like this class and this build. Honestly, I actually might steal this for live. Um, Now, if you wanted to do range, like I said, I said I would talk about it. There's a couple options you could go. You go the for the spammable. I would probably do crushing shock or force pulse. I think either or works, honestly. Um, or you could do the other morph of this, which gives it a dot. But I don't know if you want to do that. So if you want to do range, I would do this. It's only really replacing one ability, and you've still got all these other abilities to help you out. Now, I know a lot of you might be asking, where's your hot? Where's your hot? Well, that's where all these other abilities come from. That's a you heal from this, you heal from this, you get a heal from this. It just that's where it cut. Now, if you needed a hot, you could go with any. You could, go with regeneration. You could go with healing ward. I like healing ward. You could go with You could go with this here. This I chose the morph that damages people, but you could go with the other one that heals people if you wanted to. Whichever way you want to go for a hot, but or you could do what is kind of what people have been doing since the hybridization, which is resolving vigor. What I would do there is probably replace this and then do that instead, because this gives you minor resolve too. So if you do this and this, now you're at 23 and 20, which is a little better if you wanted to do that instead of doing Living Dark, because you're not sacrificing anything in the Dawn's Wrath line to proc the minor sorcery, because you still have this ability and you still have this ability. So you're good there. And you still have this ability. So you still have plenty of abilities to proc it. It's just I just really like this because it reduces movement speed. And that, I think, if you're in melee, is important for this. Because in melee range, people can get away from this. You know? Like, even if do that, and then you throw this and stun them, and then in PvP, people are going to be able to get away from that. So if you do, so if you replace that with this that reduces their movement speed, I think it's just that much beneficial. But it's as what people call a flex spot, I guess. But yeah, and for the race, I chose High Elf because that's the closest to Snow Elf. You could also choose Breton if you want. I mean, it's not. But I just chose High Elf because not for these passives. The passives are great, but because High Elf, Snow Elves, if you wanted to roleplay as a Snow Elf, now this build video is unique because I'm also getting into the fashion and skin markings and stuff like that, and skin that might help you do this roleplay if you so choose. The outfit station. Now you could do any build. I think um, another armor style that might work really good is ebony, but I haven't tried that. But this one here is all ancestral high elf. I did heavy on most of these, but I did light on the top. For skin, I just chose the It's, let's see, appearance, skin. I did Crystal Frost, but that's just because the ones that I have on live are not here. Um, for the skin, I would do Arctic skin. I can't seem to find it. You guys can tell me, maybe I missed it in the template, but I unlocked all the skins and it's not here. But I would do the Arctic skin, which basically turns your skin, like that like ice white or whatever. Not like this, but turns you pale and palish. And then for body markings, if you didn't get this, then uh, that really stinks. But there's something. It's not even hidden. It's something called Gloom Lurker body markings. Now, typically, if you do a high elf and go the palest version of high elf in the creation, and then do the Arctic skin, that's kind of close to snow elf. Kind of close to snow elf. If you don't know what a snow elf is, look up Gelabor from Skyrim. Gelgbor. But these markings, there's a body markings and face markings. You could do either or. I hate the face markings personally, but the body markings teamed with the Arctic skin, it looks pretty good. I don't have that on the PTS, so I just did this. There's not many pale skins on the PTS that I'm seeing. Guess this one. It just turns you gross. But so yeah, that's what I would do. But we could also do, like I said, we said ebony. I don't know how that would look. I know in Skyrim it looked really good, but that's Skyrim. So let's see here. It looks okay, actually. It actually looks pretty good. If you did all yeah. I mean, I think you need to keep some elven things in there, but overall, it's not bad, right? So you can go either or ancestral. You can do ebony or any armor you like, really. That I'm only using white and red because that's the color that the snow elf armor was in Skyrim. But you can go white and whatever. White seems to be the preference that they use because they used ivory was their crafting material. So ivory is white. So that's why a lot of the stuff that they do is white. Their buildings were white and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, so that's a snow elf build. I don't think I missed anything. Oh, for Mundus Stone, did the apprentice. But if you feel like your spell damage is where you like it, and you sacrifice this, maybe you want more penetration. My penetration is 6.8. If you need something else like more recovery, feel free to change it. Change the build however you like. But yeah, that's pretty much for this video, guys. I hope you like this video. I hope you have fun with this build if you use it. I have, even though it's PTS that I've primarily been using this on. I've been running around testing this, and it's been a lot of fun. Doing world bosses and public dungeon bosses and stuff. It's been a blast. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.